Hi everybody, my name is Sarah. Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto under 20. Does that include all the subtraction of fiber? No, it doesn't. Just for now. Why? Because I was so addicted to veggies that I never weighed and measured my veggies. Are you kidding me? I just piled them on. I figured, well, veggies are kind of free, aren't they? If you listen to Dr. Berg, he will say he doesn't count them, and that green leafies he doesn't count, and that that's what your body needs to wash out the fat you don't want. And so I take that into consideration because he's saying you need between 7 and 10 cups depending on of green leafies, depending on what you weigh and your body composition and things like that. I still now weigh them and track them. I am having such computer problems. I'm really glad that you even got the podcast that I uploaded. I have stopped and started and reloaded, and it's just a mess. Do any of you other podcasters ever experience it? I call it the wet wire syndrome, even though it's Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. It happens on the TV. I was watching a podcast of somebody talking keto, and then that circle goes on my YouTube, on the TV, or the regular TV, and now it's my internet. It was also my phone when I walked today. 39 degrees today. May freaking 9th, and it's 39 degrees. I pulled out my boots away from the on-off button of the, the computer home thing, whatever it is, and thinking I'm going to be putting them into a tubby for the season. I can get rid of them, but it's 39. There will be no exposed toes today. And when they say it's warming up, it's like to 50. Really? To 50? Okay, that's enough of my whining. That has nothing to do with my keto lifestyle, except walking. So I did walk my 2 miles today, and I was listening to my own podcast. It's just funny because I just gave up and just stuck it in my pocket, and then it came up, and it was the structure, discipline, the spillover, and consistent. And, that really is how I basically run my keto way of eating lifestyle. It's like I never leave the basics. That's how my sobriety has been. I never leave the basics. I am powerless over food, and that's that. And by the time I get my steps of the day in order, what I'm going to eat, put into the tracker. As I eat them, they are weighed and measured, so there's no, kind of sort of looks like 4 ounces. And so as I do the basics of what I do in the day, when I make my salad with 20 grams of that, 125 grams of that, those sort of things, it takes a while. I'm very grateful for the time to weigh and measure these things. Yes, it does take a commitment and dedicated time. I have a working kitchen. If you came into my kitchen right now, it might look like it's too cluttered for you, but I could stand on home base and reach for whatever I need, be it my copper pan, my scale, my measuring spoons, cups, and other items. The fridge is right there. What's in the fridge? The heavy whipping cream, the almond cashew milk, the pasture-raised butter, hard-boiled eggs, all things at, the veggie bins filled with what I need for my salads. It's all right there, and I've always got meals going. I have 2 dinners worth of Easy Crack Slaw. Greg will have other things. I have the quiche that I made, the crustless quiche. I asked Greg how the crust was. He said, good. He doesn't even know there was no crust. That's great, isn't it? He's so used to eating keto, he doesn't realize, although he has his share of non-keto items for sure. And if I was as skinny as him day after day with what he eats, you would never have met me. Let me just be clear about that, okay? There was one woman in AA that used to say, if I wasn't an alcoholic, I'd drink every day. Yeah, exactly. If I didn't have food issues and weight issues, I'd have cake every day. Yes, I would. You wouldn't have met me. Forget, I never even would have made it to Weight Watchers. So, here we are, and we're trying to do our food plan, and we're trying to keep it simple. The second S is Sarah, not stupid. And I never want to beat anybody up for thinking that they are stupid. But, it's kind of like manners, isn't it, to be on keto? You know what you've heard. I'm sorry, but it's not like keto is like, you gotta end up here. You just don't say, I'm going to do a keto food plan. Most of us here have done so many different versions. We try to exercise our way out of being overweight. Did that work for you? Never worked for me either. When I walk today, it's for a variety of reasons. Fresh air, thinking time, listening to podcasts. Oh, and yes, it is exercise. When I go to the rec center, I go for entertainment and amusement, because sometimes that's what I get. I go to listen to podcasts. It's got Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to have the crazy connection things that apparently seem to be going on here today. And oh yes, exercise. But it is much more for my sanity. When we talk about the second brain, which is your gut, well, for me, the brain is where the exercise benefits. It's funny. Although I do like to stay limber, and I do feel, I'm one of those type of people that feel if you get enough fat, then the fats go into the joints. But how do they get into the joints? They go into it by walking, because you're moving your limbs and you're pushing all the good stuff all the way through to your joints and tendons and everything else. I recognize that the older I am, the more I need simple, everyday things to be the same and to do. And so it just kind of works for me. It might look and sound full-time when you first enter keto food plans, and it does. I watch tons and tons of podcasts with people having things that, I might have thought would be okay on the keto food plan. Technically, they are. But the more pure you get about what you put into your body, realizing that like GMOs and parasites in certain things and not having organic and just, really taking care of yourself, from the butter to the unrefined organic oils to the pasture-raised eggs to the grass-fed meats to the wild-caught fish to the organic and as local as possible veggies. All of these things might matter. Even the uncured bacon with the no nitrites or nitrates. It's just how pure you want to make the foods going into you. And as I've often said here, the further I am into keto, yes, setting up a keto household is initially expensive because you're throwing away things you're never going to eat again. So there's that waste there of money you've already invested. But then you need to buy things like, a bottle of the coconut aminos. I'm not going to use it all in a day or a month, but like there's, 11, 12 bucks. I go through a lot of coconut oil. I buy the organic coffee. I'm not having 15 cups a day, so, I'm having 2 cups a day of organic coffee. Sometimes I buy from the Bulletproof Dave Asprey site. Otherwise I buy just organic because they pay a little bit more attention to the mold and the beans and the raising of them and the pesticides and the blah, blah, blah. But all of it matters. Now, sometimes the only difference is, like, say, organic beans, if you're going from non-organic beans to organic beans, the cost might be $1 or $2. And how long does that bag last you? If you're having... I'm one of those that, like, my bulletproof coffee is my elixir. It's also my first meal of the day. And so the quality items that I put in it, I'm having 1 a day of those. The second cup of coffee is heavy whipping cream. I was trying the coconut milk, and I stopped having it because of the carbs, but I might go back. I might alternate. Who knows? The only thing that's not consistent with me is that sometimes I change my bulletproof coffee recipe, my other coffee recipe, and things like that. But as I fine tune the food items, they're getting more and more grass-fed, although the pot roast that I just had was not grass-fed because I can't find a grass-fed pot roast around here. But grass-fed or pasture-raised or organic or unrefined coconut oil that is organic, things like that that I will never, ever change. But I was buying just Dave Asprey's coffee, which ended up $20 a bag. And then I was listening to a podcast that says, just get organic coffee. And, so those bags are $9.99 to $11.99 and frequently on sale. So I can do that. I don't buy coffee beans and grind them at the store because I think that the grinder probably has a buildup of toxins in it. Same thing when I was buying the peanut butter. I don't buy the fresh ground peanut butter, although it seemed so dreamy and wonderful at the time. But how often do they clean those machines, right? It's how far you want to take what you put into your body. And yes, I made it this far from eating crap. I made it to 64 eating crap, eating tons and tons of artificial fake foods. The food manufacturers call it edible foods. What does that mean? It means that there's no nutrition in it. It comes from a chemical lab. There's nothing pure, real, organic, unrefined, gluten-free, none of that. It's all not good for your body, but it fills you up and provides calories. I can't imagine the way that I used to eat. And so I didn't get to keto because I woke up and said, yeah, keto, yeah. As if you've never heard from it. Most of us have gotten here and we become our own researchers and scientists and investigators. We also begin to put more quality over quantity of foods. And yes, my plate was smaller from Overeaters Anonymous anyway in the 70s. But now it's filled with, items that if you look at the packaging, you'll see it came from sustainable, organic, good sources that, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. Were I in a more southern clime, I would probably have chickens. So I'd have chickens and eggs and things like that and a garden. But I don't. So I buy the closest to with organic. I'm hoping that their inspections are leading them to having more quality items too with their pesticides and buggies and everything else. The soil's depleted in the United States. And so I do take supplements because the soil is just, even organic, it's just like we're not putting back into the soil. We're just slowly asking more of it that it can give us. And so keto is as far as you want to take it, as far as you want to go with it. You can stay in the artificial sweetener keto treats, keto breads version of keto, lose weight, be happy, successful, not be triggered to have the formerly unketofied real deal things with regular flours and regular sugars and things like that. Or you can just keep adding nutrition into your body that might prevent you from dementia, Alzheimer's, other kinds of diseases that are chronic, leading towards all those metabolic horrors of prediabetes or diabetes, things like that. Just by the choices that you make, just by upgrading, little upgrades as you go along, making your own salad dressing instead of buying the bottled. Turn that puppy over. I mean, it's amazing they can fit everything onto that label. There's so many artificial ingredients. But if it works for you and you don't mind, or you have a budget, go for it. But it's just, I know for me, the purer the better. And I'm just an extra virgin olive oil, macadamia nut oil mixture person anyway. I don't have vinegar. So anyway, that's just how it goes here at the ranch, and no ranch dressing. But I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope keto does for you what you've always wanted to, as long as you're a work in process, right? or work in progress, depends on how you say it. Oh, WIP, right? Work in progress, work in process. Always trying to make what you put into your body just a little bit better, little upgrades along the way. It's amazing. Your health and energy levels can be that of what you only wished they were before you came to keto. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. Every day, I don't subtract net carbs or fiber for net carbs. It's just all still there, and that's what works for me today. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.